Something strange was happening in a small mining town in Wales. It's the early 1990s. Merthyr Tydfil, a place built on coal, hit hard by the mine closures, where money is tight and work is scarce. A drug company is running a clinical trial here. A boring one, honestly. A little bluish pill for chest pain. Volunteers take it 3 times a day, report their side effects, hand back whatever's left. Except the men in this trial are doing something no one at the company can explain. They won't give the pills back. Some say they've lost them. Some just quietly don't return them. And the trial nurses start noticing another odd detail. A bunch of these middle-aged men seem weirdly happy, almost sheepish, like they're all in on a joke nobody wants to say out loud. Nobody at the company knows it yet, but hidden inside this awkward little mystery is a discovery worth billions.
One that will change millions of lives, land on the cover of Time magazine, and become one of the most famous pills in human history. To solve it, we have to rewind a few years. Late 1980s. Pfizer's research labs in Sandwich, a quiet town on the English coast. A team of scientists is chasing a new treatment for angina, that crushing chest pain you get when your heart isn't getting enough blood. Their idea is genuinely clever. There's a natural chemical in your body that relaxes blood vessels and lets blood flow more freely. Your body makes it, and then an enzyme comes along and breaks it down. So the team designs a molecule to block that enzyme, keep the good chemical around longer, open up the vessels around the heart, ease the pain. On paper, brilliant. They call the compound UK-92480. Catchy, I know. And then reality shows up. The early tests are a letdown. The effect on blood pressure and chest pain is real, but weak, mild. Nothing a cardiologist would get excited about. Trial after trial, the numbers come back fine, just fine. And in the drug business, just fine is a death sentence. By the early 90s, after years of work and a mountain of money, the project is circling the drain. Inside Pfizer, people are ready to shelve the whole thing and eat the loss. I want to pause here, because this is the part everyone skips. We remember this story as an instant miracle. It wasn't. It was years of failure first. The pill that would become world famous spent its early life as a disappointment nobody wanted to fund. Which brings us back to Wales and the pills that wouldn't come home. In one of the studies, volunteers had been taking high doses for days in a row. And when researchers combed through the side effect reports, they found the usual suspects. Headaches, flushing, indigestion, muscle aches. And then, again and again, one more. Erections. Showing up days into the dosing, out of nowhere, in men who, in many cases, hadn't experienced them in years.
Here's the detail I love. At first, the scientists barely reacted. In the official reports, it was logged as a minor side effect. A footnote. They were heart researchers. They were staring so hard at the chest that they almost missed what the drug was actually doing. Objective: treat chest pain. Result: the chest was fine. Everything else got very interesting. But one of the men leading the clinical program, a doctor named Ian Osterloh, and his colleagues eventually stopped and asked the question that saved everything. What if the side effect is the drug? Think about how gutsy that is. Erectile dysfunction in the early 90s wasn't a market. It was a taboo. Men didn't talk about it, not to their wives, not to their doctors, not to anyone. The available treatments were grim. Injections directly into the penis, implants, vacuum devices. Most men chose silence instead. Tens of millions of them, suffering in secret. And a big pharmaceutical company betting real money on a pill for an unspeakable problem? Plenty of people inside thought it was ridiculous. They bet anyway. The science, it turns out, made perfect sense. That enzyme the drug blocked? It exists in the heart's blood vessels, yes, but it's especially concentrated somewhere else. The team had accidentally built a precision tool for the exact plumbing they were never thinking about. So Pfizer pivoted. Quietly, the failed heart drug was reborn as something new. And in the new trials, with actual patients, men who'd lived with this condition for years,
the results weren't just fine anymore. They were spectacular. Around 4 out of 5 men responded. Some of these men and their partners wept in clinics. Doctors running the studies said they'd never seen anything like it. In March 1998, the FDA approved the little blue pill. Pfizer named it Viagra. What happened next broke every record in the industry.
Hundreds of thousands of prescriptions in the first weeks. The fastest launch anyone had ever seen. Jokes on every late-night show, a spot on the cover of Time, and more quietly, millions of men finally walking into doctors' offices and saying the thing out loud for the first time in their lives. Sales hit roughly $1 billion in the first year alone. A former US presidential candidate, Senator Bob Dole, went on television as its spokesman, a war veteran in his 70s, looking into the camera and talking about erectile dysfunction like it was the most normal thing in the world. Which overnight, it kind of became. And that might actually be the real legacy. Beyond the money, beyond the punchlines, a pill dragged an invisible, ashamed problem into the open and turned it into a medical conversation. Even the name got the full marketing treatment. Pfizer never fully confirmed it, but the story goes that Viagra was built to echo 2 ideas at once: vigor and Niagara.
Strength plus an unstoppable flow. Subtle? No. Effective? $1 billion says yes. And the story has one more twist, my favorite one. Remember what the drug was originally for? Blood flow, blood vessels, the heart and lungs? Years later, researchers found that the same mechanism genuinely helps people with pulmonary hypertension, dangerously high pressure in the arteries of the lungs, including in tiny babies born with it. Under a different name, the failed heart medicine ended up saving lives in almost exactly the territory it was designed for. It just took the world's most famous detour to get there. Now, does any of this sound familiar? Because right now, the entire planet is obsessed with a weight loss injection that started life as a diabetes drug, until patients kept reporting the same unexpected effect, and someone was smart enough to take the side effects seriously. Sound familiar? It's the exact same playbook.
60 years of history, same lesson. Some of medicine's biggest breakthroughs don't come from what we were looking for. They come from what patients tell us when someone actually listens. So here's what I keep thinking about. The molecule was clever, the chemistry was elegant. But the discovery didn't happen in the lab. It happened the moment researchers took a minor side effect seriously. An awkward note on a form that 100 other teams might have filed away and forgotten. A failing drug, an embarrassing footnote, a handful of men in a Welsh mining town who mysteriously stopped returning their pills. That's what $1 billion miracle looks like the day before anyone recognizes it. The world wasn't built perfectly. Some of its greatest inventions were simply accidentally created.